Hello there, my lovelies. This is Brady, and this week I'm so excited because I get to talk to you about probably my favorite game that I've played in a few years. It might just be my favorite since Breath of the Wild, and that is saying, oh, so much. I didn't expect this game to grab me, but when it did, ooh, it got me. It got its hooks into me. It got its hooks into me hard, and I can't wait to talk to you about it. But of course, there's some other things I'm going to talk about first, because, gotta leave you wanting until the end. Except for, there's also timestamps down below, so I guess it doesn't really make much sense, because you can just skip wherever you want, but you should watch all of it. That's what I'll say.
Reviews versus the wild.
Warner Brothers. You got some great ideas out there. You really do. You have some good intentions. You want to make HBO Max just the best that it can possibly be. You want to still have movies released during this pandemic. And you want to do everything that you can to really push your service, and show the value of it of, hey, we are going to release these films in theaters, but you can watch them the same day on HBO Max. And can I just say, once again, Warner Brothers, you made me proud that I just did the HBO Max thing instead of going and seeing a movie in the theaters. Because you released Godzilla VS Kong. Okay. There is some good to be had here in this film. It isn't a total dumpster fire. And the good is everything that you find in the name itself. Godzilla vs. Kong. When it comes to action scenes, they look pretty good. They're not the best special effects that you'll see on the market today. They aren't always the strongest choreographed action scenes, but they're fun. It's entertaining. It's great to go, ooh, big monkey fight big lizard. That's cool. But, at a certain point, you need something a little bit more. And the interesting thing is the Godzilla reboot, not necessarily King of the Monsters, but the original reboot, and then Kong Skull Island were actually pretty great films overall. You had good characters, you had good acting, you had good story and plot, things made sense, and you got, giant creatures attacking each other and all of that. Here, you get the giant creatures attacking each other, and you get that even more than ever. But if you are expecting to remember a single character's name, you won't. If you are expecting to have any sort of emotional attachment to anyone in this film, you won't. If you are expecting to even remember what actors were in this movie, it's not going to happen. This movie is just lacking in so many areas. And really, your mileage may vary, because you might be going into this thinking, hey, I want to see big monkey fight big lizard, and that's all that I care about. And if that is you, then you will get that in spades. But if you're someone who wants just anything a little bit more than that, yeah, maybe don't watch this movie. Right. You guys know me by this point. You know a lot of the sort of stuff that I'm into. You know that when it comes to TV, I love kind of dark dramas with a little bit of, a humorous lilt to it, occasionally. And that I like ridiculous reality show competitions. So this week, unfortunately I don't have one of those dark dramas for you. But oh boy, do I have a ridiculous reality competition, and that is Tournament of Champions 2. So, Tournament of Champions, it's a series that is hosted by Guy Fieri. Yes, that's right. You get a trip to Flavor Town with this show. But what Tournament of Champions does really well is it takes something that you've seen in sports for years, you know, the bracket system, and it utilizes that in a cooking competition among culinary legends. Well, I say culinary legends, but it's really just culinary legends that you've seen 1,000 times on Food Network. You're not going to see Gordon Ramsay, you're not going to see Wolfgang Puck, you're just not. But what you will see is, you know, things like these guys. That person looks familiar. Hey, Bobby Flay, he's a judge sometimes, maybe. But really, when you're as invested in the Food Network cinematic universe as I am, and you know all of these chefs, you've seen them in so many different shows, and you're used to them, seeing them face off like this really is a little, dare I say, epic. And it was a lot of fun. And the way that this works, you know, you have all of these chefs ranked, and it has the West and the East, and they're ranked basically on, you know, how many cooking competitions have they won recently, what's their track record there. And so sometimes you'll get people like Kat Cora, you know, who is an Iron Chef, who is genuinely one of the best chefs out there, especially that does anything on Food Network. That she is actually ranked a little bit lower than you'd expect because, well, it's based on recent competitions, and Kat Cora hasn't really done anything recently. But therein, you see the upsets, and that's what makes it exciting. And every round is basically, you have this randomizer, and the randomizer will give you different categories. So it will give you your protein that you have for the meal. It'll give you a tool that you have to use at some point. It'll give you a style. It'll give you a time limit, and it'll give you some sort of produce, a veg to go along with it. And the way that chefs take these same things, these same parameters, and come up with such drastically different dishes, is really cool. And Tournament of Champions 2 is out now. I think that we're up to basically like the quarterfinals at this point, and it's a lot of fun. You can watch it on Food Network, you can watch it on Discovery Plus, which is where my wife and I are watching it, but I highly recommend it. Check it out. Next, I want to get into a book that I've been reading, and I just finished it, and it was okay. It was pretty good, and that is Shadow and Bone. Now, the reason why I wanted to watch this is because I know that later on this month, we're actually going to see the premiere of Shadow and Bone on Netflix. And I'm like, you know, for once, I want to be ahead of the curve. I want to make sure that I have read this before I actually watch it. And so I read it. Now, Shadow and Bone it's very interesting. It's definitely fantasy, but what I love is I love it when you take fantasy and you put it in something that you haven't really seen it before, in a different sort of environment than you have normally seen. You know, I get it. You know, Tolkien, elves and dwarves and medieval Europe. I mean, that's all fun. That's all fine and dandy. But I like my fantasy usually to have something different and creative. I want a different setting. And that's what you get with Shadow and Bone. Shadow and Bone takes place very much in kind of a Russia sort of atmosphere. And if you remember last episode, I speak Russian. I know Russian culture. I have lived the Russian culture. And so I, of course, was all in on this setting. And it was a lot of fun. And it's interesting how much kvass, which is a really, really just disgusting, nasty, bread-based soda in Russia. And it's interesting how much kvass comes up in Shadow and Bone. Now, Shadow and Bone does a lot of things well. It has some interesting characters. It has really interesting premise. The word magic system I like to throw around a lot because, once again, I'm a huge Sander fan. But this one has a pretty decent magic system. It does seem a little bit unlimited. It seems very soft in that regard, but at the same time, it has some cool things. And the way that they view magic as not magic but science is something that I can always get behind. And here you have kind of your standard YA tropes. You have the person who isn't really part of that magical world, who doesn't really believe in themselves, that has discovered that, ooh, maybe you're the one that we've been looking for all along and you have this latent ability within you. And so now you get to show it to the world and you get to save the world. And that's awesome. That's a trope that I enjoy. I'm not going to say that it's my favorite, but it is something that when pulled off well, it can go a long way. And here you have that. Especially, you have a main character, Lena, who is very unsure of herself, and she's unsure of her abilities throughout the entire book. Even at the end of the book, she doesn't really have that confidence there yet. And I liked that. What I didn't like as much is the pacing of this book. And maybe I've been spoiled by that dude, but I have a hard time sometimes with pacing in books. I want my endings to be epic. I want them to have twists. I want them to, leave me wanting more. And quite frankly, the end of Shadow and Bone just didn't. It just sort of ended. And as it ended, I went and I looked at the Audible file. I'm like, did I really listen to it all? There's got to be more, right? There wasn't. And so, yeah, I will plan on continuing the series. I'll give it a little bit of a rest. I'm actually back into Iron Gold. So as I was talking about Red Rising earlier, I'm now reading the next spin-off of the series, and I've been enjoying that a little bit. I'll probably end up talking about that next week, but maybe once I'm taking a little bit of a break away from Shadow and Bone, I'll try to jump into the next novel and see how I like it at that point. But for now, I'm excited to see the TV show, because I guarantee the TV show has some stuff that will make me very excited to see it actually come to life on screen. So yeah, Shadow and Bone. It's okay. All right. Okay. I've been trying to, put off talking about this as much as possible because I really wanted to experience as much as I could before I talk to you guys about it. And that is Monster Hunter Rise. And oh my goodness, guys, this game is amazing. It is honestly probably top 3 or 4 games on the Switch for me. And it is something that everyone should at least try out. Now, I'm going to put a little caveat on that, because trying out Monster Hunter is something that is a giant undertaking. It's something that I have tried out Monster Hunter in the past, and it has never, ever come anywhere close to clicking with me. It's just such a steep and sudden climb, and the game does not do you any favors in teaching you how to actually play it. And so with Monster Hunter Rise, I started it up with a little bit of trepidation, but I knew that it's hitting at a time right now where I'm ready for a new game. I'm ready for something to really dive into. So I wanted to give it my best shot. I tried the demo, and I liked the demo. I liked a lot of the things that I found in the demo. I still had some of those lingering doubts and problems that I've had from every other time that I've tried Monster Hunter, where, everything is, all of your actions are so slow and deliberate, and it seems like you're doing so much to set up an awesome move that the monster's just going to move last second anyway, and you're going to miss, and it will be devastating. And, I felt a little bit of that. I'm like, ugh. And then just, you look at that UI, that user interface, and you go, this is way too much. yeah, it's still that way here. But one of my biggest issues that I had with Monster Hunter up to this point is you never really felt like you were in control of your character. Like, you didn't have the mobility that you would want. And here, you get that. And that has made all of the difference for me. And in the last week, I have spent a good 30 hours playing this game, which is a lot of time when you're also, working full time and doing, teaching piano lessons and voice lessons. And obviously I have my family that I have to take care of, but every waking second that I've had some free time, I've wanted to dive into Monster Hunter. And of course, having it on the Switch allows for that a lot more easily than Monster Hunter World would have. But let's get back to the difference in this game. And it comes down to two things for me. The Palamutes, which are these adorable little puppy dogs. I mean, just look at it. It's so cute. So cute. This one. Can I pet the dog? Oh, yes, I can. I can pet the dog. I can pet it. But Palamutes and the wire bug. So first let me talk about Palamutes a little bit. So, one of the things that has always kind of held me back from really trying to enjoy Monster Hunter in the past is when monsters run away, it takes forever to get to them. In fact, to get to a monster in the first place, it's just such a pain because you move so painfully slow. Even when you are holding that run button for everything that it's worth, you are still traveling at a snail's pace, and it's not pleasant, it's not fun, it's not good, and I hate it. But here, you can mount that Palamute at any time and ride around, and it feels great. And not only can you ride around, but you can actually do actions that normally in other Monster Hunter games would stop you in your tracks. You have to sharpen your weapon, you're stopped. You are there for a 10-second animation, and you better hope that a monster's not trying to attack you right there. But with a Palamute, I can jump on that bad boy, be running around, and while I'm running around, I'm sharpening up my hunting horn, and that makes so much of a difference. Plus, you can take antidotes, you can take potions, you can do so much while you're riding the Palamute that it streamlines so many of the frustrations into something that is simple, that's easy to understand, and easy to handle. And so Palamutes are awesome. Of course, the other big thing are the wire bugs. Now, the wire bugs are great in many regards. So for one thing, I am a man who loves Breath of the Wild. And one of the things that I love about Breath of the Wild is I'm going to climb that mountain. I'm going to get up that thing. And no one is going to stop me. Monster Hunter, you have never really had that verticality before. You've had a little bit where, there's some vines, you can climb up that. That's pretty cool and all. But it's not the same as a Breath of the Wild feel where it's like, no, I want to climb that mountain right there, right now. It doesn't have any vines, I want to get up it. And the wire bugs allow you to do that because you can zip yourself up to the wall and then you can climb it as long as you have stamina. You run out of stamina, you jump off, but if you have a wire bug ready, you can just zip right back up and use the little bit of stamina that you just gained back from being in the air. You gain that back and you're able to climb up a little bit more, and then, hey, your wire bug's ready again because as you jump off, you zip right back on, which is awesome. But wire bugs also have a lot to do with combat as well. I am a hunting horn main at this point. It's one that I fall in love with this weapon. I've tried so many other weapons, but the hunting horn is just awesome. I love it. And the hunting horn has two different moves that you can do with the wire bugs. You can do one where, you throw out the wire bug and then you zip across and you do a couple of cool little spinny things and it takes up one wire bug, it's good, it's fun. But what I really love takes up 2 wire bug slots. And it takes a little bit because, you get your horn back, you get ready, and then you jab! And then after you jab it, you have the wire bug attached, and then you pull on it, which is great because you can a lot of the time from that you can get monster parts, which of course that's really the bread and butter of this game, is getting monster parts so that then you can build all this cool armor. But also it does so much damage and it is satisfying. It's frustrating as hell when you can't land it. When you go back, you're getting ready and jab, and in that split second the monster just flew over to the other side of the screen. Oh, that's irritating. But when you can hit it, oh, it feels great. And you know, that's just something that I can say about this game in general, is it feels great. Now that I've overcome that initial hurdle, I am all in. I'm loving every second of this. Now, what I will say, for all of you watching this video now who are looking at it and going, this looks like it's too much, it might be too much at first. But give it a shot. And more than that, give it a shot with somebody guiding you through it. The tutorials in this game suck. They don't teach you anything. And yeah, you can watch YouTube tutorials, which will teach you a lot, but I found that one of the best ways to do it is to find a friend. Find someone who knows Monster Hunter and have them go through a mission with you and talk to you about different things. And you realize all of the many things that you can do in this game that are just never explained. Give it a shot. This game is awesome. It's, like I said, top 3 on the Switch for me. It'll be very hard to dethrone as my game of the year at this point, and I can imagine myself pouring another 100, 200 hours into this, especially with all the updates that Capcom surely has coming. So keep it coming, Capcom. I will keep playing this because I love it. It's awesome. And that's it for this week. I hope that you guys really enjoyed the video. Like I said, you know, I'm always trying to make these videos better, but of course, you know, the other big thing is I want to know, what do you guys want to see me tackle? Because I have tried so many different things out there, but I'm always looking for recommendations. It's one of the reasons why I do this video in the first place, is because I want to give all of you recommendations. So just pay it forward a little bit, you know. Comment down below, what is a game that you want me to try playing? What's a movie that you really want my take on? What's a TV show that you're like, this is a Brady TV show, so you should totally watch it? Just let me know down in the comments. And of course, you know, like, subscribe, share, turn on the notification bell, all that jazz. And I'll see you next week.
Review.